Okay, so we're going to just kind of look at making some complex transformations, right? And this is going to kind of give us this effect, right? This is the master file, the sample file with all these different types of transformations. Um, and I'm just going to kind of show you how you can do that really very easily. So I'm going to click on the ellipse tool. I am just going to make quickly a shape, right? And I'm going to copy it, Command C, paste it in place, Command F. I'm just going to drag it to the left. I'm just trying to get that kind of petal shape to start off with. And again, I'm going to go to Pathfinder. I'm just going to click so that I just include the overlap, right? So I've got this shape. And now I'm just trying to rotate that shape around a center point. So if I go to the rotation tool, you'll notice that um, Illustrator puts a reference point which is in the very center of the shape. And normally if we rotate stuff, it would rotate around that center point. But for this project, we're going to do something a little more complex. We're going to change that center point. So if I hold down on the Option key, right, and holding down Option, or it's the Alt key, you'll notice that my cursor has dot, 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 dot after it, right? And that means that there's more. It means you can do more. So I'm just going to basically take my cursor straight down kind of below my shape, and I'm going to click one time. I'm just going to scoot this out of the way, and you'll notice that Illustrator, by clicking, has changed the center point of the object from the center of the object to here, okay? It's changed it to outside of the object. So in the angle box, I'm going to type in 360, and then I'm going to type in divided by, and I'm going to type in a number like 18. So what Illustrator is going to do is it's going to rotate this object around the center point 360 degrees, right? And it's going to evenly space 18 items when it's doing that. So a lot of times you'll see people just rotating and trying to guess how far to rotate it in order to get a perfect matchup, but this will perfectly match it up, okay? And it's a little bit tricky, so just kind of bear with me. I'm going to choose copy, okay? And I'm not going to touch anything else. I'm going to hold down the Command key, and I'm going to type D as in dog. And I can just hold down the Command key and keep tapping on the D key, the D as in dog key, until my object is duplicated and transformed all the way around. And it ends up giving me this kind of interesting kind of flower shape, right? And, in order to make it easier for me to deal with, the shape, there's 18 shapes there. I'm going to swipe over them, right? And then I'm going to go Object, Group. And now it's one shape. It's been grouped into one shape. So, that's a very simple shape. So in order to make the shape maybe even a little bit more interesting, let's take it a little bit further. I'm going to click back on my ellipse shape, okay? I'm going to copy Command C, paste Command F, which pastes it in place exactly on top of itself. I'm holding down the Shift key, and I'm just going to slightly drag a little bit, right? So I kind of get this slice, like this little moon slice, right? And I'm going to swipe over both of them. And up here in Pathfinder, I'm going to minus the top. Just clicked that, and I minused the top, right, from the bottom. And then we're going to do kind of the same thing that we just did. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on the rotate tool, or I'm going to hit R, right, which means rotate. And it's placed that reference point. That's the center of the shape, right? And I'm going to come down. I want to rotate this shape, and I'm just going to bring my cursor right to a little bit off the tip of the bottom of the shape, holding the Option key down. You'll see I've got dot, 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 dot again. I'm going to click one time, right? And again, it opens the rotate dialog box, and I'm going to type in 360 divided by, right, backslash, and that's the same key as the question mark key. And I can type in something like 18 again. That's what we did last time. And again, I'm going to choose copy. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to hold down on the Command key, and I'm going to type the letter D with Command held down until it rotates that form all the way around for me. And again, in order to make this easier to deal with, I'm just going to swipe over all of them and I'm going to group it. So object group. Okay, and then I'm going to go over here to my swatches palette and I'm just going to change the color to white. And I feel like it could, make it a little bit more interesting if I created like a negative shape to cut through the green shape below. And I'm just holding down the shift key so that I can make the whole shape like a little bit smaller, right? But you'll kind of notice that now, like it's pretty interesting, the kind of the effect that I'm getting. So I've stacked the two shapes one on top of each other. And if I want to try to align the two shapes exactly on top of each other, I can go Window, Align. Okay, and here's my Align dialog box, and I can horizontally align the centers, and then I can vertically align the centers. And it has now placed, they were both swiped over, horizontal align, vertical align, in the Align dialog box, right? Window, Align. And so now they've both been aligned together. And so now, I've got like a shape. I've decided I like it, and I'm going to kind of keep the shape. So then the last thing I can do is I can swipe back over all of it, and I'm going to go Object, Group. So I've grouped all of it. And then the last thing that I have to do in order to get this to work for me is I have to make it smaller, right? Because if I go back and look at my other shapes, you can see that they're much smaller. As a matter of fact, I have to be able to stack 4 shapes, 1, 2, 3, 4 in each row, and then I have to be able to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across the top. And so I'm just going to kind of eyeball it a little bit. I'm holding down on my Shift and Option key, and that just kind of constrains it so that I don't, typically I don't want to do this. I don't want to click on one of the handles and then do that, right? Because that just looks like you've squashed the shape. It doesn't look as vibrant as that. So again, I'm going to hold down the Shift and Option key, and I'm just going to make the shape small enough so that, when I place the shape in one of the intersections, right, I need a shape for each intersection here where the guides, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the only thing I have to really understand is that I just want this shape to be big enough, right, so that I have some nice white space around the margin, right, up here and here, and that if I make another shape, and I'm just going to copy, Command-C, paste in place, Command-F, just to show you a sample. If I have another shape that is going to have to be here, is there going to be a little bit of space between the two shapes, okay? So I have to, just manage the size of the shapes a little bit so that I can fit all, I think there's 24 objects, right? There's 24 intersections, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, times 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to be able to make 24 different shapes. Now, this is the same shape. You're going to make all different shapes. We're going to kind of look here again at this. And, you can notice in the sample that there are simple shapes that got made here, and then there are medium shapes, and there are more complex shapes. And I'm just going to ask you to type in simple, medium, complex, and your name on the paper. And, make sure that you save, right? File, save. I'm just going to make sure that we save the work every time that we do something.